Everyone, what is up? Welcome back to the Mind and Mac podcast. Yes, we are in person. I am with Nemo right now. We are in person. We don't know about the setup yet, but we think this is pretty nice for in person. What do you think, Nemo?
It is a good start. I mean, this is a good start for what we have, and what we had like a couple days. We had maybe 5 days to get this together.
We were discussing doing it last week, right?
Yeah.
And then we were just like, let's hold off because I didn't want to do some like insanely scuffed setup for in person.
Exactly.
But I think this is pretty good for right now. If anyone has any suggestions on how to change it, you're more than welcome to comment on the video or DM me on Discord or whatever.
Yeah. Any improvements? Anything that you guys may think would look better? Yeah, let us know. I mean,
But we got the IMAX sign in the back
We
as
did.
shown on stream. I also have some pictures, a little Arnie picture that you guys know from Shadows of Rev. I also have Minute Maid Park right there as well.
that's a nice shot.
It's pretty. I think this is pretty cool. It's also my other room, by the way. If you're not curious where we're recording, we didn't just rent out some like regular.
Yeah. Just run it out of the house. Dude.
Yeah, basically. But yeah,
Yeah. So let's get into it. So today, Ian had a stream.
I did have a stream.
Right. You had a stream. You're running supers, right?
Yeah, I'm running supers.
So we saw that there was a little record break there for yourself.
Well,
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, YPB'd, but obviously, as you know, I want the sub 2.5 hour.
Yep.
And I'm gonna be honest, the run started off insanely good. I was like, holy shit! Like, I'm like, dang. I think I was off the giant at like 23:14, which is like fucking nutty in my opinion.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think that's what it was. And then I get to DE, and then there's this step. I don't know if you know it, where it's like you have to put in these like little pieces to a trap, basically, to shoot down Dempsey from the sky. But you also need to like turn a little cog, and I did turn it but apparently it glitched on me, so I lost like over a minute, and I didn't realize that. I thought I forgot to hit it, and then someone like went back and it's like, oh no, you hit it. It's a rare glitch when it happens. I was like, oh shit. So it lost me like a minute, but I was like, whatever. I'm still ahead. We're chilling. My ZNS was awful. I play like a turtle with like stuck in molasses the entire time, like a 3008 ZNS. So it was kind of shit, but it's whatever. GK was awesome. Red was amazing as well until the end where I bricked a sounding key throw. If I make that throw, then I get the 229, but I lost like, I'd say like 40 seconds off that. So that kind of sucked. But honestly, the 2.5 hours are really good. It's still a really good time for a super. So I'll take it for right now, but I'll still definitely keep playing it because I do want to sub 230 and probably start thinking about record now. I'm only about 4 minutes off that. So
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's room for improvement. I mean, I think the next couple times you'll be able to get it.
Yeah, I mean, like I every time I play now, I'm gonna be like 45 seconds to a minute behind to start off. I'm like, it's fine. I can make up time later. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of that's the thing about supers that like you can screw up a bit, but you're still enabled to get back in the game just because it's such a how long the run is.
Yeah.
Basically. Like
Yeah.
it's not like a Shadows, which is like a 21-minute run where it's like it's condensed, so you breathe wrong and you lose like 40 seconds and the run's over. That's what I kind of like about supers. Is kind of like going into the unknown basically with
Yeah,
every
but you
map.
just started playing more supers recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, like I played them a bit. Probably back in like I think February-ish, and I took a little bit of a break. But I don't know. I just always enjoy because I get to play every map. You know, I don't like the maps I don't like are like DE and Rev, but I still play them. I feel like I don't play them. The only time I play them is on supers, but I feel like I just get better at the maps because I've been playing a lot of supers lately.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of nice to play a D and actually not suck at it. So
Yeah,
it's pretty nice. I mean, honestly, sucking in terms of getting like 31s and 32s, I guess in the grand scheme of things is pretty good. But for I guess a speedrunner, it's not that good. But
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I just like it because it's there's when you go for a regular run, you're always like you want a certain amount of RNG or it's like a hard line reset.
Yeah.
And supers, it's like obviously if you keep getting screwed over, you'll have to reset. But it's like how do you do when something's gonna fuck up? Like there's no in a 2.5 hour run, something's gonna have to go wrong.
It's inevitable.
Nothing's gonna be a smooth and clean run. Like how do you adapt to that, and how do you adapt to getting bad RNG? How do you like kind of sort of manipulate? There's some RNG where you physically can't get past it unless you like get that. But there's some where it's like how do you get around it and kind of like keep pushing the game forward. So that's just why I like supers a lot, and they're fun to fuck around in a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
Because
So
Origins, I'm like, military command
Yeah.
on Mac. So yeah.
So we obviously know a lot of people like to watch you play, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But let's say there's some people out there that are getting into supers and they're getting into playing zombies.
Oh God.
And like you're just talking about like in supers, shit's bound to happen. It's inevitable, right? So talking to a newer player, what would you tell them? What's the advice you give them, to get better at adapting? Because you don't just go in and play and then you become, I'm Tom Brady. I'm going to call audible perfectly. It's not going to happen, right? So what would you suggest to somebody that's getting into zombies? Because a lot of people ask you, right? Hey, I'm starting this. I'm doing this. They want advice. What advice do you have to give?
That's a great question, actually. And the one thing so before I started supers, I knew how to run SOE. Giants is kind of an easy map, so there's some strategy, but not that much. DE I knew how to run, GK I knew how to run, Rev I knew how to run, but I didn't know how to run ZNS. So I was like, some people were asking me like, "Oh, you should do." It's like, I think I got my first super attempt like over a year ago, but I've like stopped and done other stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
But like when I started doing supers, I was like, okay, I need to at least know how to do ZNS. I can't just go in there and just like get a 40-minute time and like go on with it. So like. Honestly, like if you're getting serious about supers, you need to know the routes of the map. Like that's always it's 5 and 0.2 different routes, I guess, if you want to count the giant. But like you have to know how to do every map, and it's even if you can't adapt well to like bad RNG or something, just knowing the routes at worst, that's at worst. You're still gonna get time and whatnot. So I'd say you have to know the routes for each map. Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't have to know them super well, but you have to at least know the routes. I'm like,
yeah, because you can't control the RNG.
Right.
You have RNG good one game, and it can be complete shit the other game.
Yeah,
right?
like easily my worst map is DE out of all the 6 maps. 100%. I just don't care enough to practice it. I just hate the map. But like even that map, I know the route, and I'm starting to learn where wisps spawn and like all that predict stuff. But I'm so like but like even without knowing the little details, I still know the actual route of the map, how it works. So I think knowing the route for all 6 different maps is pretty key, and again, just adapting to RNG. That's the one thing about supers that's nice, is that like console speedrunners get absolutely boned to the they just get boned with speedruns in BO3 because of fast restart. They don't have it on console.
No, they don't.
So I'd say honestly, if you're a console player, you should probably run supers because it's one attempt. So it's just the same as a PC. Obviously, with SOE, it's a bit different. You still have to restart for stuff there, but for the other maps, I guess you can just keep going regardless. I guess that's if you're a console. Honestly, if you can run supers, not the worst idea. Honestly, I kind of just saw that off the fly, but
no, nice. No, that's all good, and this is a good place to stop here.
Yeah.
But then we can transition into what we want to talk about.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
The first thing we're going to talk about today, guys, is She-Hulk.
Oh, God.
So we, Ian and I were talking, because we usually will talk and we'll usually talk and come up with some topics, right? We'd like to come in and be able to just hit some topics and talk about them. And the first thing I thought of was I messaged Ian the day after last week's episode. I said, we need to talk about She-Hulk. I saw the trailer. I literally watched it 5 minutes ago, mind you, because I've seen pictures on Twitter and things like Ian's having
it 4 times. I just couldn't believe how bad the CGI was.
Yeah, Ian's dying over here.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, so this started off right. Just watching the trailer initially, my thoughts are the CGI on
so
her.
Bad.
It's bad, but
and like that's literally the only thing people are talking about. Because I actually, to be honest, I kind of like the idea of it being kind of not a super serious series like Falcon Winter Soldier or WandaVision or anything. Like it seems like it's kind of lighthearted, which I think is kind of cool. I like the direction of that, but just the CGI on She-Hulk looks horrible because like that's what sucks about it, right? Is that like when you see Bruce Banner in those shots, he looks fine, like he's ready to go.
Yeah,
but, I mean, because obviously they've had him for like that model, I guess, for 4 years or whatever. So like, but that CGI, man, that was just so bad.
But let's preface with why we're being so critical in the CGI, because we're talking about Marvel, right?
We talked about last week.
Yeah.
Remember Doctor Strange, how we were being like, oh, the CGI is so good in Marvel movies. Now She-Hulk just like dunked on our opinion, basically.
But I think it's tough because they're in a situation where with She-Hulk, because I've seen reports what they're talking about, don't make her too big. She needs to look smaller. They're trying to find this happy medium to satisfy people watching and say, okay, because they don't want to make her too bulky. They don't want to make her too small. So they're trying to make her like this,
like
a green avatar. She looks like a green avatar.
I did not. I was about to say that. I literally was about to say that. Like, I just like a bad. It's like if James Cameron never. It's like if James Cameron didn't make Avatar. That's
it's like if James Cameron, if Marv Albert had had James Cameron's position, and told him to run the CGI. That's what it looks like.
Oh shit!
And you're right. In the shots, Bruce Banner looks great.
He looks
just
great.
Side by side, she looks funky.
The one shot when they're both like doing like this superhero landing.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, the person on the right looks like some humanoid Na'vi that like was unfinished.
Exactly.
And
it looks weird.
Hulk looks great. Like I think he looks great. He looks like he's ready for a great series.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. But I do like the I forgot what the actress's name was that is doing She-Hulk.
Yeah, we just said it earlier. That's so
just said
funny.
it, but whatever.
I'm about to look it up.
She's really good though. I like her, and I think that the acting's gonna be fine. I think that like the script's gonna be fine. Whoever's behind that CG team, they need to get Doctor Strange's people in there. Honestly,
Tatiana Maslany.
Yeah, that's what her name was, and I honestly like.
Oh, Jamila's in this?
Yeah.
Oh, I love her. She's great. It's interesting because Bruce Banner as, Smart Hulk.
Yeah.
Looks good.
I'm sorry. By the way, when this is set, like, because obviously, like,
it has to be after.
Right, because remember at the end of Shang-Chi, he's back to being regular Bruce Banner. So I'm assuming it's a prequel. Like, it's like slightly after Endgame, I'd guess.
That's interesting. You know what? I think it can go both ways. Because he might be able just to go back and forth between Bruce Banner and Hulk rather than, in Endgame, he was just Hulk.
I didn't think about that, actually.
So I think they might be able to go back and forth. I think they're going to do it after Shang-Chi because I think they're going to do it after along the timeline. But going back to the CGI, the thing about Hulk that looks good is it's not necessarily too difficult to CGI him in a way because he's so big, right?
He's not even a human basically at that point.
You can't get a body, you can't get some sort of stunt doubles in there, right?
No.
Mark Ruffalo, when they take the shots, he's completely armed to the teeth of just the CGI.
And then they
equipment.
have like a little wooden stick coming behind him, and you see like the Hulk figure that the actor's supposed to look at, and it's so funny.
It's so funny, and it's. But in that case, that's why it looks normal.
Right.
Because they're CGIing something like Tony Stark's suit. They're CGIing that suit because he's not in that suit. The old suit looked good, but when they went to the nanotech, the CGI looked good because they have something to look at in a way where it's not so realistic that the CGI gets really iffy.
Yeah.
Right? Even in Avatar, when we're talking about it, those CGI characters of the avatars, they look great because they're like 8 feet and they're just they don't really, they're somewhat human, right? But they're not too human in a way.
Well, that's the thing. Like because I didn't even think about the comparison of the Na'vi to She-Hulk until now. But like just going through it in my head, like I've been so obsessed with Avatar 2 the last month or so whenever it came out. So I've been watching basically how they made Avatar 1 and a bit of Avatar 2. That's not more public yet, but you can see that it's hard to explain. They have this whole headset on. They have these little dots on their faces, or I don't even know what the hell that's. I don't even know what that's called, to be honest. But it's just. So I'm like, did they do that for She-Hulk or different? Because I feel like that if they just did that,
and mind you, Avatar, when they were doing that, is over a decade old.
Right, it's over a decade old.
So that's
what I'm saying. I'm like, are you using the same CG that Avatar is using for She-Hulk? Clearly they're doing something different. Because I'm interested to see that's some B-roll footage I love to watch is non-CG scene to be how is She-Hulk looking in that shot? What are they setting her up with?
Yeah,
because she doesn't seem that much bigger when she's in She-Hulk than compared to original body. Compared to Bruce Banner in his original body, obviously. She's probably what, eight feet maybe.
Yeah,
I'd say
8 feet. I'd say
9
8 feet.
feet-ish, and that's kind of it's the size of like a Na'vi person. So I'm confused to what they use, or is it like is it not done?
So you make actually a good point. Then I kind of take back what I was saying in a way of, because I said, right, in the Hulk's case, you know, he's so big, it's easy to CGI him. But you're right. In Avatar, the characters are very similar. In Avatar, it looks a lot clearer and it looks a lot better.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
but to give She-Hulk the benefit of the doubt, I think that, right, we're looking at trailers, we're looking at things like that. I think by the time they get, well, you know, when they release it, when does it even come out?
August.
August. By the time it comes out, I think they'll hash all this out.
You hope that, and like I've kind of thought that I'm like, okay, they have to like. Well, that's the thing about it, because like, remember when the original Sonic trailer came out for the live action?
I was literally about to say that.
Like, in how bad Sonic looked, and like it was hilarious. But like, and they went back and changed Sonic.
Yeah,
how
because
he
everybody
looked.
was like,
but
this
the
looks
problem
like
is that took over a year for them to do it.
Yeah,
they have 2 months now.
But,
They I don't like, they can probably like set the face different and like make it better, like a patch. But they can't, like, it can't be a complete overhaul. They're way past that point.
They're struggling with how to make her look, right?
Yeah.
Because I literally was reading that report, and it says they don't want to make her too big.
Yeah.
Right? As a female character, they don't want to make her too big. They don't want to make her too bulky. So I think for those guys that are trying to CGI it, I think they're in a situation where they don't have much room to operate.
Right.
They can't make her too small. They can't make her too big. They can put her right in the middle.
Yeah.
But right at the same time, they don't have the advantage of the range of what they could do with this character. So, you know, let's say we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because
I'm hoping, because I as I said, like, I like the direction of the story.
Yes.
But if I'm watching some like funky humanoid thing, it'll be hard. It'll be hard to really get behind it. Regardless,
I just
of the
wonder
writing.
what they're gonna do. Like, this goes back to what we were talking about with America Chavez.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what they're going to do with these characters.
I feel like that this one's just kind of a one-off thing.
It has to be.
It's like, you know, like the Netflix shows with like Iron Fist and I guess not Daredevil, but like,
yeah, because Daredevil was spectacular.
Luke Cage and whatnot. But like,
Luke Cage.
Those are like kind of. I guess they're technically in the MCU now, but they're never used. So I
mean,
feel
they were always in MCU, but
they're. Kevin Feige's never going to use them in some Avengers movie. So in my opinion, like I think this might be a one and done thing.
I think so too, because you're right. That's a good point, because Daredevil is actually one of a top Marvel character.
Daredevil's good, and also him being in Spider-Man as well.
Him being in Spider-Man,
Murdock,
and I can't remember his name.
Matt Murdock.
No, not Matt Murdock. Like the actor's name.
Oh, I can't remember.
I'm gonna look it up too, because he was fantastic.
He was great, and I love this cameo in Spider-Man as well. But
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox. Yeah, there you go.
This is a side note. Did you know Charlie Cox, Robert Pattinson, and Andrew Garfield all lived together when they were younger?
Really?
And now they're all superheroes. Daredevil, Batman, and Spider-Man.
Wow,
isn't that crazy? That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's funny.
So no, but to go back, Daredevil's a really big character, and I think She-Hulk is just. This is what I think we're gonna get a little bit. A story as well. From Hulk.
We have to. Well, that's the thing about Hulk, right? Is that like Universal won't let Disney do an actual just Hulk movie or series.
Yeah, because they have the rights.
So for me, this is like kind of their excuse. It's like, we own She-Hulk and we're allowed to put Hulk into stuff, but we can't make him an actual series. So we're just gonna put She in the front of it. But that's the thing. Like, I wonder if they'll like make it just kind of like Hulk and be like, She-Hulk's only like kind of like I wouldn't say a side character, but like not as a main character as you think that she would be, like, because in the book of Boba Fett, they kind of did the same thing with the Mandalorian. Like, the last 2 or 3 episodes are basically all Mandalorian, and Boba just had basically no screen time. So I kind of wonder if they'll do the same thing. But I feel like if they do that, though, then they'll be disingenuous to the series, though, and I'm just not. It's just a whole. It's a bad situation, honestly, because I don't think that this character has any longevity like America's character does in Doctor Strange.
No, because with America Chavez, she has something they need. She has this ability to traverse through the multiverse, and they need it. Right? I was thinking about this today, and when it comes down to if Kang the Conqueror is the villain, they need her because Kang the
Yeah.
Conqueror is from a further time. He finds a way. In Loki, he talked about how he found a way, and I don't know, it was like the year 30 something.
Yeah, whatever it was.
But he found a way to traverse the multiverse. But our heroes were not in this time period.
No.
Because Kang is a descendant of Reed Richards.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, right, when it comes down to it, we need her to take us through the multiverse and get characters or get help, whatever it is.
Yeah. So like America's character can potentially still have some use, but I feel like She-Hulk won't be in an Avengers
No, because
movie.
it's just repetitive, right? We don't need two Hulks.
We don't need two Hulks.
We don't need two Hulks.
We only need one. I feel like this will just be a Disney Plus thing, and it will probably just run its course. But that's the thing about like. This is just a Disney Plus series. I mean, that you get great actors for.
Yeah.
An online show now. I guess it's kind of the norm now in media. Like, it used to not really be a thing where big actors would do these kind of things. But like, with Netflix and Disney Plus, so like, obviously Tatia is going to be She-Hulk. So like,
I hope.
I think it's going to be good. Like
I do hope
CG.
they have, another season or something like that.
They probably won't.
I know they probably won't. But I'm saying with these characters that they're introducing, that we know that they may not get that big screen time.
No.
They should think about doing multiple seasons. But again, I don't know what goes into that. Right?
I think it's one of those things where like Loki was already confirmed to have a second season because they knew it'd slap regardless.
Oh,
right?
it slapped.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't like it that much, but like numbers wise, they knew they'd slap. Whatever. But I mean, but like with She-Hulk, you don't know how well it's going to do in terms of its viewing. So that one guarantee is going to be on a episode by episode basis. Like, does it do well? Yes. Okay, maybe second season. No, then no, we scrapping this.
So okay, so I think that's good on She-Hulk. But while we're on Marvel, I'm going to call a little audible here. Let's go across some of the things. Right. Let's talk about Thor. Thor: Love and Thunder.
That new trailer was so good.
The new trailer.
So good.
Russell Crowe as Zeus.
I love. That's such a great cast.
That's a great cast. That's a great cast.
So good.
It's a phenomenal cast. They're going all out. And I read a report. Who is one of the directors?
Taika Waititi.
Yes, exactly. He said that a lot of people, like I even said it, a lot of people are assuming that Natalie Portman is going to take the torch and become Thor, and then Chris Hemsworth. But he said himself in a report, he said, a lot of people are saying this, but that's not what I think is going to happen. Obviously, he can't really say much, but I think what's going to happen is I hope Chris Hemsworth finds a way to stay.
I think he will. I think because like the thing about Thor is that after episode 2, after the Dark World, I read something about it where he was just kind of like tired of the character, and that
I did read that too.
He was like considering just not even doing a third movie,
but that's why Ragnarok was so good.
Because Ragnarok revived. Because for me at least, it revived Thor. Because I thought he was like not really that interesting, to be honest.
Because you know what happened? I read this too, and they gave him more freedom. They gave him more freedom, more audibles on his lines.
Yeah.
I mean, he was even saying the kid. There was a Make-A-Wish Foundation kid.
I remember that.
And the scene.
He's a friend from work.
Yeah. The scene where his whole
one of the funniest lines in the movie.
They go, he's a friend from work, and then they said the kid came up with that. But before I think Thor was a little bland.
Well, no, because it was. I think we talked about it earlier, or when we were in the car earlier this afternoon. Was that like 1 and 2 felt like kind of like the same movie? Honestly, like I don't like. Yeah. Obviously, their like plot lines are different, but I felt like overall they didn't really do that much to Thor. Like it felt like that he was just kind of just doing the same thing again. And like I thought episode 2, damn it, the Dark World was really stale. And it wasn't like a horrible movie, but I was like, it doesn't really do that much for me. It's whatever. You got an Infinity Stone there to make it seem kind of cool.
And that's what we talked about. We said it was good. Well, it was good because the thing is, for me at least, I don't mind the movies that are kind of bland. Number one, these are kind of his origin stories in a way.
No, for sure.
And number two, it adds to the story. So when you look 10 years later, when we're at Endgame, I mean, that story is pivotal. We needed to know who had one of these stones. We needed to, so we're starting to see the Tesseract. I don't remember which one.
It was the reality stone.
Yeah, it was a reality stone, but I'm saying like before the Tesseract was introduced.
Oh,
then
yeah,
we get the
yeah.
reality stone.
Yeah.
Then these other stones are coming in. Then we're getting hints
Well,
of Thanos.
I think to me that's more of the genius of Endgame more than the genius of the Dark World, in my opinion.
But no, and I'm not saying it's the genius of the Dark World, but I'm saying it's a block. It's a stepping block for them to get to Endgame.
Yeah.
And it is the genius of Endgame to bring it all together. But we need that movie, right? We need it to understand the reality stone and how they use the reality stone. So I'm excited for this movie. I want to see.
It's gonna be so. I think it's easily gonna be. I mean, like Ragnarok was so good. I think this is gonna be the best one.
I think so
it's
too.
Gonna be the best one.
It's hard to really talk about this movie because we don't know much about it.
Well, yeah, all we know is that Gore or Christian Bale. Oh my god. He looks so good.
Oh my god, he looks great.
He looks amazing. Gore looks awesome. Christian Bale.
He never misses, dude.
The Batman himself. He's incredible. I couldn't be more excited for a villain. I guess more of a writing thing. Like, I'm trying to make way too many assumptions in the trailer. Hopefully, it's like a good backstory and whatnot. I'm assuming Taika's a good writer, so I'd be surprised if he was just some bland villain or something. So I don't think he will be though, for sure.
I don't think he will be. But, it's hard to really get into it. We'll see as time goes on. We'll see. Because the movie's coming out soon. It's just hard to assume what's going on here. So
also, if you're wondering, Natalie Portman's muscles are not CGI. She actually did work out a lot more.
You're kidding.
No. She actually, there was a funny meme online. It was like Chadame or something.
Oh.
So funny. But, so if you're wondering, it's not CGI.
That's cool.
I saw, 20 comments. I like scrolling through the comments sometimes. I saw 20 comments is Natalie Portman's build CGI? I'm like, and it's it's not.
Wow.
And I'm like, damn, she really bulked up for this.
But I like that because she cares.
That's what I'm saying, right? I when I heard she'd come back, I was like, oh, it's just gonna be some dumb cameo thing. I thought she was done with Marvel, to be honest. Obviously, she was in game for 2 seconds, but
What? I don't remember when
when Rocket got the reality stone out of her when they went back to Thor: The Dark World when Rocket was with Thor.
Oh yeah.
She was in that scene for 15 seconds or something.
Yeah.
It was something so minute. I thought that was more like a contractual thing that she was there. But I mean, other than that, I'm glad she's back. I like Jane Foster. She's a cool character. So I'm glad that she's back. And she looks great as well. The girl Thor look. Awesome.
No, it looks great. And I want to piggyback off of what we were saying earlier. I think with what Phase 4 is happening, the thing I like about Marvel a lot is, right, Chris Hemsworth originally, right, you get tired of the role. It's obvious.
He's been Thor for 12 years.
12 years.
12 years,
12
bro.
years. 12. So you get tired, right? And but they give their actors this creative liberty to be able to call their own audibles.
They've done that a lot better in the past 5 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, because in the first couple of years, right? They were piecing it together.
Oh
themselves.
yeah, no, for sure.
So I love that about it. Ragnarok was such an awesome vibe.
It was.
You got Led Zeppelin ripping in the beginning. I mean, it's just so. It was such a 180.
It was completely different. It was like Thor was a different character, and that's why I loved it so much, was that a lot of people was like, oh, his character changed so much from 2 to 3. I'm like, that's a good thing though, because he was like, I feel like he was just way too stoic and brave, and way too godlike, I'd say. So making him feel more human,
medieval,
or just make him more human kind of thing. And also medieval. He was
like one of those gods from before. It was right, very very proper. And
but they kind of took a little bit what he did in, I guess it was the first Avengers, but they just kind of put that on overdrive basically. And I love how Thor is now, and I love his arc, and I love his in-game arc
Chris
as well.
Hemsworth is genuinely so funny.
Dude, he's so good.
That movie, I was rolling probably the whole movie.
It was so funny.
He was so funny throughout the whole thing. We didn't see that. We didn't see that in his earlier Thor movies.
I remember the first time I watched it. I don't know if I was with you or not. I can't remember.
It was years ago.
That was 5 years ago, so I don't remember. But I legitimately just remember laughing so many times. It was a great movie, and I'm so glad that
he has that meme, his face, where he's looking at it, he's making that face
that one. That's a good one. But no, I think it was just obviously Taika just reviving him. But yeah, he's done great. I I cannot wait for this movie, dude. It's gonna be great.
I'm excited for Thor, and so we're gonna leave it at that. And once we kind of see some more things, this is coming out soon. So once we see
July
some more things,
7th,
we're gonna talk some more about it. But
coming up,
we're gonna stay with Disney. But this is something I wanted to talk about. We're gonna stay with Disney, but we're gonna talk about my man.
Come on, baby.
Obi-Wan.
Come on, baby.
Obi-Wan.
Looks so good.
Oh, that first trailer! I almost shed a tear, dude.
So it's literally coming out in like 3 days.
No, it's amazing. I didn't know it was episode at a time.
What's up?
It's episode at a time.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Yeah.
I like. They're not going to pour it all out at once, but they're doing 2 this week. It was actually
really?
Yeah, it was actually supposed to come out. So it was actually episode 1 was supposed to come out tonight, actually, like at 2 a.m. our time. But then they basically made a trade with Star Wars fans, like, well, we're going to delay it 2 days, but then we're going to give you 2 episodes. And I'm like,
fine with me.
And like your trade has been accepted, like in the trade machine. But
so let's talk about Obi-Wan in this story, right? Because
Yeah.
we kind of have the idea of what's happening, right?
Right, exactly.
We have the idea. There's comics about this. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things.
yeah, there's a lot of comics about
There's
it.
a lot of comics about this. The thing I really like about this, and this is to Ewan McGregor's, how great of an actor and great of a person he is. He loves the role. I mean, those pictures of him and Christian Haydenson, it's beautiful. He genuinely cares about this role.
Yeah.
Did you hear whenever he did that for Ray's scene when a bunch of the old actors were like, Ray, Ray.
Yeah.
And I think even the first movie, they got that snippet of the old Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
And they had him say, Ray, this, and that. They chopped it. And then they had Ewan McGregor say something as well.
Right, yeah.
Ewan McGregor straight up got on his bike. They called him and they said, hey.
I've never heard this.
Yeah. They call him and say, hey, we want to do this. We need a sound bite from you. He said, yeah, of course. He comes in with his motorcycle. Takes the helmet off. He goes in there smiling, boom, does his thing, and leaves.
He was there for like 15 minutes or
Yeah,
something?
he was there just to get a snippet. But that's what it is. He was like, shit, yeah, of course I would do this for you guys.
Oh, that's great.
Comes in, so when they come to him and they're like, we want to do this to Obi-Wan, I know he's like, you don't even have to ask me, I'm in.
Well, that's the thing about it was I think that I feel like that he's found more love for the character as the years gone on from Revenge of the Sith, because what I read was when they were kind of shooting in kind of after that he was, I wouldn't say like done with Star Wars, but like this the whole, I guess he wasn't used to like a CG set yet, I'd say, because that was one of I think that's one of the things that he's talked about a lot, is that like he it was just, I guess it was just kind of new to him that he didn't like it that much, but like I think once he realized that like this is a thing now in cinema, like these CG sets, and I'm sure he's been on countless ones after Revenge of the Sith, but like I think like the one thing that I guess semi turned him off from the character was just the sets themselves.
Yeah.
But like I agree, like his love for the character now runs super deep, and like
It's deep, yeah.
he mentioned that they could do a season 2, and I was like,
Oh my gosh, if they do that. So
I don't expect them to do that, but
I don't think so either.
I because that's the thing, like, and I feel like if they extend it more, then I just feel like it kind of dilute this hype for these 6 episodes, and I feel like that any more story, it couldn't include Darth Vader, in my opinion. So
no,
like,
it couldn't.
It could. I feel like it would just be kind of messy if it did. So
I want a season 2, but you're 100% right.
I don't think it's good for the character
because they have a surplus of stories.
Right.
They
Yeah.
go into the George Lucas archive, open one book, and boom, there's a whole 100-page book of just Obi-Wan
stuff you can do for Disney Plus series.
Exactly. So this story's interesting because we're 10 years, and I was saying this earlier.
Yeah.
What's so awesome about the series right now is Obi-Wan looks older. Ewan McGregor is older.
Yeah.
It's 10
it's
years.
Great. It's a perfect time for him to do it. Perfect.
He looks a little bit older because Obi-Wan episode 3, I literally watched it 2 days ago with Jared.
Such a good movie.
Oh my God. That's peak of cinema. So you're right, he looks young, he looks there, but this Obi-Wan, his hair is a little bit grown out. You can see some of the wrinkles. You can see just from not just, Ian McGregor getting older, but just Obi-Wan being there watching Luke. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot out of him. Yeah, it takes a lot of it. He's doing the training that Yoda told him for immortality that Qui-Gon found. Mm-hmm. He's protecting Luke, and he has to keep a low profile, right?
That's a tough right there, man.
And you're strong with the Force. That's why Yoda had to go
to Dagobah.
Yeah, Dagobah, because his force was so powerful, he needed something to mask his
We were talking about this
power.
earlier. Yoda and Obi-Wan got
They
Yoda,
got
Obi-Wan, and
screwed.
Luke got absolutely shafted. Like, Bail Organa and Leia got off pretty damn nice. I mean, they're still part of the rebellion, but like, I mean, they can live on this, nice ass Alderaan planet while they're like slumming in some damn swamp.
They're slumming, dude.
Living next to Shrek, and then living in the like the Dune Sea, pretty much. So.
Oh my god! And then even in the end of episode 3, they had the hardest fight. First, you got Yoda. He's facing Emperor Palpatine.
Oh my god!
No one else can do what Yoda was doing.
Oh, dude, that was such.
No one.
It's crazy how. Like, we were talking about CG, like how for 2005 that looked incredible. For 2005 it looked absolutely incredible. You can't like, I can't even believe like that was like, you think that like there's so many like, there's so many stuff that came after this is 40 times worse, but they did that in 2005. But yeah, that was a great fight scene. And of course, Obi-Wan Anakin's fight was incredible as well. Such a good fight, epic beyond proportion.
The 2 fights in tandem.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's peak cinema.
It's just your heart's beating the entire time,
and you hear dum 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 dum, and you're like, oh, here we go. It's fantastic, and right, they had the hardest task. Those 2 had the hardest task.
Yeah.
Number 1, and we talked about this, and I was talking to Jared about this. And, intuitively, I kind of knew, but if you really sit down and think about it, what Obi-Wan faced was Prime Vader. Okay, there is Prime Vader, but this is Vader with his whole body. Imagine Vader having his whole body throughout, the next years in time to come. It's over. I mean... And let me preface, I'm not taking anything away from Vader, because even Vader in that suit,
so scary.
He's still like, that comic. There's one comic, and
where it's like he's surrounded by like 45 rebels.
Not even, they're like thousands.
Yeah, and
he's surrounded, and he's like
all I see is this dead man. Oh, that's
all I
such
smell
a good
is
comic.
Fear and dead men, and you're like, all right,
oh shit, okay.
Let me hold on to my britches. So Obi-Wan had the hardest task.
Yeah,
and he stopped Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped Anakin. Yoda was able to hold off Palpatine long enough for Obi-Wan to finish that fight.
Yeah, I know, dude.
If you think about it.
Crucial.
And Yoda, saber's gone. He's getting flung around everywhere. He's getting electrocuted. The only freaking Jedi that can sit there and turn that and throw it back on Palpatine. Oh, you hear Palpatine. He just goes down. It's crazy. I mean, you're sitting here and you're like, this is our last line of defense. This is it. This is all we have, guys. This is it. All the Jedi, they're eradicated. They're gone. And Ahsoka obviously is somewhere, but like not in. Yeah, no,
she's too far away to help though. She's in the middle of hyperspace.
Yeah,
can't do anything.
She's in the middle of nowhere. But our last line of defense is the goat and the other goat. We get the last 2 line of defense, and right. It's crazy. So in Obi-Wan, what we're going to see, and it's so hyped up, because we're seeing the images of Christian Hayden saying,
oh, dude, that's such a good, that's a great shot. I don't know why, but something about that shot was like, that's Darth Vader right there. I don't know how they got the cape when they were taking that picture of him, like just doing the like practice fighting, but it was a great picture. Did you see that?
They may tease, the suit Anakin had in the cartoon, right? They might tease that, because remember, he has the cape.
Right, yeah.
So I think they might have some flashbacks of Anakin and
that's
Obi-Wan.
What I was thinking, and I think there'll definitely be flashbacks for sure. I would be surprised they didn't do that. I don't know how much that's going to take up the series, though. It'd probably
be
not
an
that
episode
much.
At most.
Yeah, well, or like it will just kind of like how Boba did it, where they like kind of did it episode by episode. I think that's probably how they'll do it. They could just make it one full episode of some, in real action Clone Wars thing, which would be awesome, by the way, if they did that.
It's in a way of like Moon Knight. You know how Moon Knight gets the 4th episode talks about that trauma?
Right,
They kind of took time for that.
Right.
So I think they're going to take some time to see some of these flashbacks. And what we're hyped about is we're about to see Vader and Obi-Wan go at it again.
Yeah.
We're going to see him go, and I know Obi-Wan's going to come out on top, because that's my guy.
He has to, or he's going to die this time. So,
but the quote he has, I can't remember the quote. I have to look it up. Arya was telling me this, right? Because I was saying, wait, I thought they didn't see each other again.
Yeah. The episode 4 quote it does leave a bit open
because he says last time we met, you were the master.
Right now, now I'm the master. Yeah, like
it's
that quote, like obviously with no thoughts of an Obi-Wan series, it makes sense that like episode 3 is the last time they see each other. But obviously, like that whole scene with the Falcon and him like sensing the presence. I mean, like, you know, it could be 20 years or it could be 10. I mean, like that's the thing about it, is that like it does that line. I mean, completely. George Lucas says accidentally, obviously. I guess looking forward, almost 35 years or 45 years in the future about a potential Obi-Wan series to lead, because like you have to be realized when you're doing prequels, you have to be very careful, and because like with such a source, because like there are like you have to be consistent, obviously, and be like try not to make as many plot holes as possible, but like there are some in the prequels, but like there's not really that many for it to be like a huge glaring thing. But
you know, he was already writing these stories, so he had an idea.
Yeah, but I don't think he had an idea of like
not in episode 4
Inquisitors or any of that kind of something when he's writing episode 4.
Yeah, episode 4.
Like I think he had an idea of a entire 6-part trilogy or trilogy series, but like I don't think that he was thinking this much. But we all got lucky, and that line can be opened up for interpretation. So I'm excited, but also like. Obviously, it's not just Vader and Obi-Wan. It's obviously, Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru back. Same with her name's Reva, I think, which is she's the 7th sister, I think. And then you have the 5th brother, and then the Grand Inquisitor. I don't know if the 2nd sister will be in there as well, but like, obviously, there's gonna be Inquisitors in there as well. So I mean, I think Reva. There's been a lot of talk about her character being very important as well. I don't know I don't know if that's true or not. We'll see. Obviously, when the show comes out, and like. Because obviously, like, if she's more like the main villain, like, you know how in Fallen Order, like Trilla was like kind of the main villain with Cal, basically. But obviously Vader came at the end and you know, messed shit up, basically.
Oh my god,
but like that'll be interesting to see like what Vader's involved in the show is. But I can imagine though it's pretty big though. If they're you know. Throwing it around, showings and whatnot with Hayden and all that stuff, instead of it just being like a cameo thing. So obviously, like he'll have more involvement in the show, but like, how are they going to split that up between him and Reva? Because I feel like a lot of fans are just gonna be like, oh, just show us more Vader, and like obviously, like I love Vader. You can put him on the screen the entire time, but like, you know, I think this show is also gonna be about Reva as well. And I think she's either the 2nd or 7th sister. I can't remember.
Yeah,
And so I'll be interested to see how that character is, and
it's gonna be interesting juggling all the other characters, because this is Obi-Wan's show,
right? It's Obi-Wan's show, and so you gotta, obviously he has to be the main focus.
He's got to be the main focus,
but you have to, obviously with villains, a lot of fans are gonna want to see, again, as I said, a lot of Vader. So how do you balance that from complete overexposure to him not being in the show that much? Obviously, the show's obviously complete and done at this point. So whatever Debbie Chow did is done by now, but
I think
like,
they're gonna nail it.
I think it's gonna be amazing. I have like there's probably 0.1% of me that's scared, I guess, it's gonna be bad, but I don't see it being bad though. I don't
0% in me, because
I don't
when
see
you
it
got
being
Ewan
bad.
McGregor back, Christian Haydenson, this is it. Like I think they're going to nail this story very well.
Yeah.
They have obviously thought about this for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think this is something that they, thought about 2 years ago and let's try to.
No, it's been in the making for so long.
So long. They just never had the right time. And thank God to the streaming services, because these streaming services are allowing for more shows, more characters. And we just talking about She-Hulk, Moon Knight, all these people.
Honestly, the reason that this thing is because of Disney Plus. It was
100%.
never going to be a movie. It was always going to be
to be a show. Couldn't be a movie.
And so if there was not Disney Plus, there would never be an Obi-Wan series. I can 100% guarantee that.
100%, because they can't make Obi-Wan movie, right? Because
no, they can't.
It would just be too much, and right, it
would be too long for a movie, or it would just be too short. And I think you have to make it episodic, in my opinion.
People have talked about a Vader series and things like that, but I think that's really hard to do, because Vader in his prime was just...
It would be before Kenobi, right? It would have to be before this show and series, in my opinion. And because also you don't want to contradict or kind of get in topple with Rebels and then Kenobi as well. So it had to be between years, like a 0 and 10 of the Empire. But I mean, honestly, like, the meme about that is like the whole damn series is about him. So why does Vader need a spinoff? But I mean, obviously, I would love to just have like a 6 episodes of Vader just cutting people in half. So I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Even in Rogue One, when he comes in at the end, you're just like
that was a great, like, almost accidental teaser for new modern Vader, basically.
Because when you think about it, Episode 4 Vader is not Prime Vader.
No, he's not. Oh, it's not Prime Vader. Well, because he's older, and two, because it was made in 1977.
Well, no, I'm not even talking about like the movie. I'm talking about like in the timeline.
Oh yeah.
Prime Vader's from Episode 3 to 4.
Right. Oh yeah.
He's obliterating. He's obliterating everybody. But Episode 4, right? There's age to it because Obi-Wan is old now. He's very old, and they meet each other one more time.
You could argue that Vader is like kind of old, and obviously he's not older in age, but like just in terms of that being in that suit for like 25 years, like that's
25 years, and
he's 45 at the time, but you're probably like 65, 75 at that point.
Because your body, right?
His body's burnt in a cage, basically.
Because you saw him whenever Luke, takes his mask off at the end. I mean, that suit is keeping him alive. Like, remember when he sits there, they'll take the thing off, the helmet off whenever he was sitting just to sit there. I mean, I think George Lucas really nailed that because Vader was he was fighting himself at that point. Like his body was deteriorating while he's holding the Empire together.
That's how strong he is, dude.
That's how
strong Anakin or Vader is. Is that like, he's basically like half strength, and he's stronger than pretty much everyone in the galaxy.
Oh yeah,
like it's actually kind of scary to think about if you have some like what if Marvel thing for Star Wars. But
a what if he was like never.
They should really make a what if for Star Wars. I would be down to do that.
It'd be tough.
Well, and I'm not saying like connect it to the actual Star Wars.
No, of course not.
Like they could technically with the world between worlds, but like they shouldn't do that. Yeah. Just make a fun what if series. I would be totally down for that, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Like what if here's an idea. What if Leia and Luke switch places? Luke went on Alderaan, and Leia went to Tatooine. I think that would be kind of a cool one.
That would be interesting. I think that they could probably do something like that. It just comes down to what they come up with. But I think right now they're gonna do Obi-Wan. They might tease some other Star Wars stuff. So we're very excited for Obi-Wan.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if they tease the next Star Wars movie at the end of Obi-Wan. I think I can't remember which. I forgot.
When is the new Star Wars movie supposed to take place?
I can't remember. I don't know if it's going to be an actual episode 10 or not, or if it's going to be something completely different. But whatever it is, whatever's next, because there's been a lot of mix up between like Squadrons and Acolyte and whatnot. So like, for me, I'm just kind of lost on which one's releasing first and which one's not. But I would say Taika Waititi's gonna have his own movie as well, and I think Kevin Feige as well. I don't know if it's in tandem or whatnot,
really?
But yeah. So maybe they'll tease that at the end of Obi-Wan. But that's probably what we'll see next from Star Wars is whatever one of those two have. I can't remember which one comes first, though, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very interesting. I'm very excited for Obi-Wan to come out. Episode 1, May 27th.
May 27th, and then 2 a.m. Central Time.
2 a.m. Central.
I'll be up, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be watching, too. So I think that's good for Obi-Wan. I love Obi-Wan, so, I could talk about Obi-Wan for all day.
He's awesome.
So let's go into, right, we've talked about Marvel. We talked about things like that. Let's go into a little bit of basketball.
Basketball.
Right, I know. It sucks.
Oh my
it
God.
sucks. It does.
It's so bad
now,
guys.
Right, we're about 40 minutes in. Right, dude, we already went 40 minutes just talking about Marvel and Star Wars.
Dude, then I think the game starts in like 20 minutes. I don't even want to watch it, though, honestly.
So, for my opinion on the series, because right.
You want to talk about which one are you talking about? Celtics or Celtics Heat or Mavs?
I want to talk about Boston first, but I want to talk like in general.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
So I love my Celtics. Everybody knows this, right? When you look at the first two podcasts, I have Jason Tatum right next to me. So the thing about this series that I really don't like is, right, we won last night. We won by 30 points. We were leading by a lot.
It was 18-1.
I know. But the thing I hate about it And I think these playoffs have absolutely sucked because
They really have, dude, honestly.
Miami blows us out, then we blow them out. Miami blows us out, then we blow. I mean, it's not even fun to watch. The ratings, they must be plummeting. I think Adam Silver is having a hernia right now. He's having a heart attack because who wants to watch? I mean, and you know what? We've seen teams go up by a lot, but in the first 5 minutes of the game when it's decided,
yeah, no, I honestly like Boston and Milwaukee was a great series. That one ended in a blowout though in Game 7, and like just from a fan that obviously like the Rockets aren't playing, so I'm really just watching just for pure basketball. Since the first round, these playoffs have been really boring.
No, they're extremely boring.
Like honestly, like Memphis and Golden State, you kind of already knew after Game 1 who was going to win that series.
It was boring.
And it was boring. Like a lot of games were blowouts. It wasn't really that fun to watch in my opinion most of the time. Then you had Phoenix just completely collapsing. But like even without that, like all the games are complete blowouts.
Yeah,
there was not one close game in that series. All of them were blowouts. And then the Heat Sixers was a complete snooze fest in my opinion. You got to think about
the Heat played the Hawks before,
right? Yeah,
and that was a snooze fest itself.
That was such a horrible series,
terrible series, and it just shows that in this basketball right now in the NBA, I don't know what's going on. Right?
I think it's just a coincidence, honestly.
It has to be.
It just because in the playoffs you don't see this many blowouts and like this many just kind of like. I guess dead games, really. Every game just kind of feels dead right now.
It's extremely dead.
Like, that New Orleans-Phoenix series was a lot of fun to watch.
It was.
That Dallas-Utah series, even though Utah was sucking the entire time, was still fun to watch because all the games were close.
Better than what we were watching.
Right, exactly. But most of the series have just been like, you're just kind of, like, people are just kind of there. Even the Brooklyn Boston series was supposed to be a great 7-game series. That was a sweep. For Boston fans, again, like if you're a Boston fan, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But for like me, I'm like, I wanted this to go like 6-7 games and have some fun, and talk about something. But now we can't. And
but we've nailed we sit down and obviously
we've done pretty good on predictions.
Ian and I watch a lot of basketball. We've been around basketball for a long time, so the predictions we kind of just have a feeling, but. Right, we said Bucks Celtics 7. Right, I wasn't sure because of Giannis, but Grant Williams just destroyed.
Grant Williams is great in that
27 points,
game.
7 or 8 threes. I mean, he's not doing that again, but I'll take it. And then, we talked about the Warriors playing Dallas, and we literally sat down together last week. We said 4 or 5 games. We're at Game 4 tonight. They're up 3-0. It's a boring series, and this is why it's a boring series. The Mavericks. And I know a lot of people from Dallas, and they're not going to like what I'm about to say. The Mavericks, they are trying to do what Houston did.
They're a worse version of our
team. They're a worse version of our team. They're trying to do, and I would always complain to Ian about this. With us, why we couldn't beat the Warriors, our defense wasn't bad, but we try to outscore them. And what I have learned the past 8 years, 10 years from Golden State, you cannot outscore that team.
No, you can't.
You can. It doesn't matter. You can't outscore them. Even if you win a game or two, you're going to lose because you got to play them in 7 games.
Right.
And they're not going to be cold for all 7 games.
No.
So the Mavs, they're struggling because...
Well, the first half of Game 2, they were great. They were hitting threes. They were awesome. And then after that, I mean, you said the under for the game. Dallas scored 72 points in the first half, and you had the under of 102. And after the third quarter, I'm like, man, but you might still get this. That's how bad their offense was.
They scored
because they kept shooting threes. And that's the thing about the old Rockets teams was that other than Chris Paul, it was no one shot a mid-range jump shot, and that's kind of what killed us with Golden State was obviously not having Chris Paul in Game 7.
We know the saying, you live and die by the 3.
Yep.
You live and die by it. And they had it. They had it the first half. But this is how, I'm watching it. I wasn't even convinced. I'm watching it. Stan Van Gundy. Stan Van Gundy, if you want to know somebody, if you want to listen to somebody that knows the game, Stan Van Gundy. He knows the game
100%.
so well.
Yep.
He sat there and everybody else, the announcers, Dallas is off to a hot start. He sits there and he goes, I'm not convinced. They are chunking up threes. They're not getting to the basket. They cannot sustain this.
No.
And what happened? They didn't sustain it. They ran out of juice. You cannot outshoot that team. You got to get stops. And you know what? You're not going to like what I'm going to say. Andrew Wiggins.
Oh my God!
Listen to me.
He's been playing well this series. Defensively, he's had a great series.
Granted, Luka's scoring 40, but
That's fine though. Honestly, it doesn't matter when. And
I
Dorian
want your
Finney-Smith
opinion
and
on
Reggie
this.
Bullock was
I want your
crap.
opinion on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I've been watching Luka's 40 points compared to James Harden. Because let me preface, guys, I had a pretty heated conversation with some people I went to college with about the Luka Doncic being better than prime James Harden. I'm not talking about 76ers James Harden. I'm talking about prime James Harden, MVP James Harden, scoring champion James Harden. I'm talking about this guy. They're saying Luka's better than James Harden right now. No, not at all. Okay? No. And I said, you got to give it time. Because James Harden, they're like, well, James Harden was in Oklahoma City and he didn't have the ability to go take over a team.
Yeah.
But you saw what happened when he came to Houston.
Right.
So my question to you is, when I watch Luka drop 40, because Jalen Brunson has 30 and, they're combining for 80. But when I watch Luka score 40, his 40 seems so much more hollow than James Harden's 40.
And I think the reason that is, I think it's because, it's hard.
Tell me, am I off with this? Assumption?
I wouldn't say hollow. I think that's a bit harsh. Like, it just feels like when he's getting that 40 though, that it's just that they're a bit kind of behind. That it just feels like he's just kind of keeping them in for them to lose, kind of a little bit by a little bit, and not a lot. Because obviously Reggie Bullock going over 10 was I didn't realize Trevor Ariza made an appearance. In Game 3, but clearly he did, and he was awful. Max Kleber was 0 for 5. He was awful. you got those guys can't go 0 for 15. Honestly, any game, let alone against Golden State. And I think Luka. To me overall he's played fine this series, but there's a lot of kind of intricate stuff where that only kind of Harden and Chris knew against the Golden State that actually enabled them to make those series longer. And I think it's that.
It was our defense.
Well, it was that, but it was just also the experience of how you play them, and for you to even giving yourself a chance. And I feel like that Luka's still young. Obviously, he's 23 years old. He still has a lot of time to learn. But he's kind of learning this series. I think they're going to lose tonight. I don't think they're going to extend it to 5 games.
I don't think so. I think they. I want Golden State to win tonight, but I think they.
If they hit 23s, I can see that. If they get super hot tonight, but I don't see them. Obviously, they're not going to win the series. The series is over, but. If that doesn't happen, I don't think they win tonight. In my opinion,
it's interesting. And what I said before about James Harden prime being better than Luka Doncic, this is nothing against Luka. Luka is a phenomenal basketball player. Yep. He offensively can create anything. They compare him to James Harden, but like you said, he's 23 years old. You can't sit down and tell me he's better than James Harden, and James Harden was doing this for a decade. You cannot sit down and tell me that. Give Luka some time. Give him some time.
And I'm sure he'll do it.
And I'm sure he will.
But right now, it's not even close.
Well, you can't do that because he's 23. No. James Harden was doing this for literally an era, the 2010s.
Yeah, no, for an entire era. And Luka's been doing it for about a couple of years.
And mind you, we played Golden State 3 times, right? 4 times. We played not arguably. When we played that KD, Steph, Clay, Draymond, that's the best team of all time.
Yeah.
No question.
Well, and the thing, I had to say something. The reason that we are able to get even close to that team, on paper, that team should sweep every team in the league. Even our team, any other year, that 2018 Rockets win the championship by a country mile, pretty much.
Yeah.
But even that team on paper doesn't even compare to the Golden State team. But the how we stopped them was
switch everything,
but also make them an ISO team. They do not excel in ISO.
Yeah, KD said it himself.
Yeah, exactly. KD said it himself on his pod, saying they made them play Houston's game, and Dallas has not done that this entire series. They've just they've been playing just Golden State basketball. But if you're making, obviously Steph Curry is a great ball handler and he can get his own shot, but if you're making him do ISO every time instead of running around the perimeter with him and Clay,
yes,
you got to make those guys ISO. Jordan Poole, especially Andrew Wiggins. I don't like him. He's still had a good series, but if you make him an ISO player, he becomes horrible.
Yeah, because he's not an ISO player.
No,
they're playing their roles correctly, and the way you beat the Warriors, again, is a lot easier said than done. is you have to limit transition points. You have
and the
to
offensive rebounds. Kevin Looney has absolutely.
You cannot.
Kevin Looney's had a field day. He's had a great playoffs, dude. Kevin Looney's been great these playoffs.
I've always liked Kevin Looney. Even when he was playing against us,
we tried to sign
tough.
him because it was like, we can't really beat you, so we'll just give you a lot of money to not beat us. But he never, and he obviously never came here. But he's great. And then
phenomenal. And then you have to.
It's a relocation.
You got to limit transition baskets because you got to like Ian's saying, you need them to run the ISO. Right? If you let them get into motion, they will get hot. But to limit a shooting team, you got to keep them in the half court. And again, you cannot always just have you cannot limit every transition point.
No.
But you can try to, number one, make sure you don't turn the ball over. You're going to give up some points.
It's the live ball turnovers as well.
Exactly.
Those kill you. And against any team, but against Golden State, it's basically a death sentence.
Because they'll run and gun. They'll run, and then they'll find Steph, they'll find Clay, they'll find somebody.
Right.
And if they hit one for a shooter, if they see one go in, it's done. They're going to get hot. Clay, in one of those games, he was playing absolutely shitty at first.
Yeah.
Then they let him get in his motion, and he had 30.
Well, it reminds me of... even though the Rockets won this game, it was Game 4, the 2018 Conference Finals. We were up by it was 10 at halftime. We were down by, it was 12-0 to start the game, and then we were up 63-53 at halftime. How that happened, it was insane, basically.
Yeah.
But then what happened was that Steph then got on fire. Then they got up 12 again to start the fourth quarter, and it was all off an offensive rebound, a relocation from Steph. And he hit a three. Then he hit it felt like 23s in a row at that point.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that Golden State does so well is what I want Jalen Green to do when he starts, becoming more better.
Yeah.
It's the relocation off offensive rebounds. For some reason, NBA players, especially perimeter players, just completely lose their man when the ball is shot. I don't know why, but it happens. You see it so often. But the problem is that those offensive players don't relocate to another spot, and so it basically the defenders are sitting there, and the offensive players are sitting around the perimeter doing nothing pretty much. There's an offensive rebound, but if that offensive player relocates to somewhere on the floor, they are going to be open 90% of the time. And again, it's just off-ball relocation after offensive rebound is why Golden State has won three championships. In my opinion, that to me that's their biggest strength.
Right. Transition points, offensive
rebound plus relocation as well.
Plus relocation, and then make them run the ISO.
Yeah,
you have to push them into the ISO.
Make them play the ISO.
Again, it's a lot easier said than done. And the thing that Dallas doesn't have is Luka has 40. They say, fine, Luka, you can have 40. But they send the double. They don't want him to get into his shot. They make his shots difficult. And he's a phenomenal player, so he's going to get his. But they're like, Luka, make me lose by somebody else.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, make me lose by Reggie Bullock. Make me lose by Spencer Dinwiddie, which he has been playing not well at all.
Mm.
Even Jalen Brunson, even though Jalen Brunson have 30, I'd rather lose to Jalen Brunson 7 games in a series than Luka Doncic because you're not going to lose the series like that.
You never will.
And that's the hard thing about the Warriors. So that's the flaw of the Mavericks. But the thing as well with the Warriors is, fine, you can do that to Steph. Mm-hmm. You can do that. But I got Clay, okay? Number 2, I got Draymond, Draymond is very underrated. I know a lot of people don't like him, but Draymond is one of these stretch fours. He can get the rebound, and the offense goes through him.
Yeah.
Shooters go. They go switch sides. And
incredible.
Draymond, do you see Draymond's level of IQ?
It's so high. It's LeBron James level.
It's
100%.
LeBron James level. When he sits there, they give him the ball. They give him the ball like Steph the other game, right?
He's their point guard.
He's their point guard.
100%.
So Steph had the ball last game, dribbled to the corner. They sent the double. He threw the ball back like this. Go straight to Draymond. Draymond doesn't even look at the basket. He's looking at Steph. He doesn't care. He's like, I'm going to telegraph it to you. But he's looking. Boom. Steph, because he knows Steph is going to come around. Off ball. Boom. Right back to him. There was one game. I can't remember which series this was. Steph was at he was at the arc. He throws it down to Draymond. Draymond dribble. Steph comes around. Draymond just bounce pass between two people. Steph wide open 3.
Yeah, no, Draymond's great. I guess I said he's basically their point. He's been their point guard for the last 7 years, to be honest.
So then, what I'm saying is, Yeah, you're right.
When he doesn't play, they're actually like not a good team, in my opinion.
No, because he makes that motion move. He
Yep.
makes them get into their motion.
Yep.
And it's really good for them because you, as a shooter, Steph Curry is a point guard, but as a shooter, you cannot handle the ball the whole game. That's why most of their points will come off the ball.
Yep.
That's where their shots come from. And Draymond just allows the floor to open so much when he's at the top of the key and Clay is diving. And Jordan Poole in this lineup, that's the death lineup because these guys can create offense out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to get at is you can double Steph, but I got Draymond to handle the ball. You can throw people at Draymond. I got Jordan Poole to handle the ball. Even freaking Clay.
Clay can handle it a bit.
He can handle it a bit, but you don't want to leave Clay open.
No. Absolutely
He's a guy that'll give you 40 and a quarter.
No, definitely not.
And then Kevon Looney's playing out of his freaking gourd.
21 rebounds in that game
rebounds.
6, dude.
21 rebounds.
So good.
21 rebounds. He makes Cat look like shit. So, and Cat's a good player. But, no, it's going to be interesting tonight, right?
I think it's over. I think they're gonna win by
starting now,
like
but
10 to 15 points, and
I
it's
think
just
so too.
I don't think it's going back to Golden State. And if it does by some miracle, it's gonna be a blowout in Game 5. In my
I
opinion.
said this in another podcast. If they lose tonight, not about if they lose tonight, but I said this in another podcast with Golden State. They're one of those teams that when they lose, I mean, you better pray because the next game they're going to come out ridiculous.
Yeah.
They don't like being humiliated. They don't like losing. That's the one thing I like about the Warriors. And for us, right? For us, when we were in Houston and we were playing them, we hated the Warriors, but that's the competitiveness.
Yeah.
I don't hate Steph Curry. I don't hate Draymond. But they'll tell you when they play, you hate them because they're so good. So, to wrap up the Mavs don't have enough. They need another.
They're just a young team.
They're a young team. They don't have enough, and Luke has been playing well. Jalen Brunson, they have to give him a contract.
I don't think they can though. He's going to get paid by way too much by some team.
No, 100%. They're going to give him a lot of money, and they're not going to be able to keep him.
No.
Spencer Dinwiddie was such a bad. You know what? He was so good, but
he's been so good. He just had a bad. Honestly, Bullock's had a bad series.
I think Spencer's going to go too.
I think I know they'll definitely keep. He's a less cheaper option than Brunson. I don't see him leaving personally.
But he's playing the 6-man.
If he does, then he might start when Brunson leaves. But I don't know. I don't know where Brunson's going to go. But I mean, there's
Sacramento or somebody's either here's a $200 million contract.
Exactly. Like someone's going to give him a massive contract. I mean, he deserves it. But I don't. Unless if Dallas is willing to spend a lot, and maybe Mark Cuban is, but I don't know how much is he willing to spend for Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I think they're going to lose Jalen Brunson. But, I mean, it's going to come down to it. In all honesty, Warriors are going to win the series. I think they may lose tonight, but if they lose tonight, they're going to win the next game.
Yeah.
Boston and Miami, to wrap that one up, I just don't know.
It's a boring series.
It's
honestly, like, whoever wins Game 5 wins the series.
100%.
And whoever wins that game is probably going to win by 40, to be honest. And I that's just kind of like I think the playoffs is peaked really early.
My Celtics have to win Game 5, or
I think it's over, honestly.
Yeah, if they don't win Game 5, because Game 7 in Miami, you can chalk it. I don't think we can do that.
No, I don't think so. And it's just the only reason I say that is because of the nature of the series. Is because if every game's been close, then I can see. Like that Boston Bucks series when Celtics lost game, completely blew it. They lost Game 5, but I still felt like that they can still win Game 6 because you can kind of feel in the series when it's just like someone starts out 8-0 or 6-0, they're gonna win by 40 pretty much. Yeah. And I honestly I don't see. Whoever wins Game 5 wins the series, in my opinion.
So let's wrap up with some predictions. So give me your prediction for Miami and Boston.
Yeah.
And give me your prediction for the Warriors and the Mavericks, and then I'll give mine.
I say Warriors win tonight. Let's say 115-104. Pretty big spread, but I'm gonna go with that. And I'm gonna say Miami. We said Celtics in 6, right? I'm gonna stick to my prediction. Celtics win by 27 the
Game
next
5?
night. Yeah, if they're gonna win, it's gonna be by a blowout just because of the nature of the series. And then I'd say Boston wins by 15-20 in the next game. That sounds kind of stupid, but how does that make any sense? But I think this is the nature of the series.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stick with my prediction. So
okay, so Boston,
Boston,
Golden
6.
State finals.
Yep.
Who do you think's gonna win that final series?
I hope Boston wins.
I hope so too. But
I would if I'd probably say, well,
I say Golden State.
Who has home court? It would be Golden State has it. So I'd say Golden State wins then.
6 or 7. Okay, so my predictions tonight. I say the Mavs win 117 to 109.
1-7. Mavs win 1-7. Okay, gotcha.
I think that they're gonna come out hot and they just don't want to lose in front of home.
Well, it's like one of those games where the home team comes out up by like 25, and
some of the game fours.
They kind of the game fours are so weird.
They're so weird
because everyone knows the series is over. But if the teams I think Dallas is also good enough though to win a game off Golden State. So it's one of those weird games where it's like this is kind of happening just because you can't end the series after 3 games pretty much. So I can see Dallas winning it though.
Yeah. So I say that for my Mavs tonight, and then Golden State wins the next game. So it'll be Golden State in 5. Then I say, just a little from my bias self, I think my Celtics will win Game 5. I think they're going to come out and they're just going to know. Because they know. If we don't win this game, this is going to be a very uphill battle.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to win Game 5, and I agree. I think it's going to be, but in my opinion, I think it'll be over 15.
Okay.
So I think it'll be over 15, and then finals, I think 6 or 7 Golden State. I really hope it's Boston, but just this series, the last thing I want to say is this series being Boston-Miami just shows that they have so much kink in the armor.
Oh, yeah.
Because no matter what team goes and plays Golden State is coming off beating up on the Mavericks.
Completely destroying them.
They're coming out hot.
Yeah.
So you can't have these bad games at Golden State. You just can't. And because Miami, even with Boston or Miami, you can't have bad games in the series. But hey, luckily the other team is playing shitty too in other games. So hey, it doesn't look too bad in the end.
I just can't believe Golden State's probably gonna win again, dude. That's me 4 titles, dude.
Yeah,
it makes me sick because I'm just a Rockets fan. That's all.
Hey, I know, and it's just the nature of the beast, man. These guys are too good.
Yeah.
But that's all I have to say with NBA. Do you have anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, dude, I think it's good. I'm just excited this is in person.
Yeah, guys, if you think anything else, we should add anything or any ideas?
Yeah, any ideas on how to improve it, please send them my way. Obviously, this is kind of just, again, this is the first time we're ever doing this, so there's probably something that maybe seems a bit off that you guys can just tell me about. But yeah. That's all I got for you guys today. You got anything else, bro? You good?
No, I mean, it looks good. I mean, I'm also very excited that we were able to do this because we always talked about it. This is very short notice for us to put it all together. But the mastermind, I will say, Ian McKillop, we got all this stuff, and Ian found a way to just put it all together in a couple days. And kudos to him. Give him the credit.
Thank you.
Right? We got a camera. We got these mics. And at first, when I came over, we got this stuff. I'm like, how are we going to put this together? And Ian did it all.
I still can't believe I got lucky, but these mics are pretty nice though, and then the camera we got is pretty cool as well. So pretty good setup in my opinion.
So
for the equipment standpoint.
Any opinions, guys? Let us know. But we love doing this, and that's it for me, man. Let's wrap it up.
Well, guys, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I don't know if you're in town we can do episode 4 in person as well.
I'll be in town.
You'll be in town. All right, we'll do this in person again then. Episode 4, right here in the same spot. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week. All right. See you guys later.
See you guys.
Peace.